Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Cold War Era 1 Eastern Alliance medium tank. That was a bit of a mouthful. The Kondor, or the M636. Yeah, the M636 Kondor. This is, like I say, a new Eastern Alliance premium medium tank at Era 1. It'll make you a damn good set of credits. It's in the season pass for 2,000 gold. Is it worth getting the season pass for this tank? I think so. Is it worth getting the season pass generally anyway if you've got 2,000 gold sitting around? Absolutely. And then you get this thing in return as well. And this is a pretty damn nice medium tank. It's a little bit slow for a medium tank, but the gun handling is statistically very good. Sometimes it's not that good at snapshotting, but realistically the gun is very, very good. The DPM is very, 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 very nice. And so far, so good. It's been a damn fun tank to play. It makes you an absolute bank as well, being an Era 1 premium tank. You've got like 223 pen, which for the most part pens everything you're going to see, except for, say, some of the heavy tanks like M103s and stuff, unless you get the side, obviously. And yeah, on the whole, it's been a pretty damn nice tank to play. And as you can see, it has a skin, which is 3,000 gold, which is expensive, so you'll want to wait for the discounts that you can have on skins. But it's a pretty damn nice looking skin. I really do like the skin on this tank. It's, yeah, pretty damn nice looking. And, yeah, it doesn't mean that you get spotted really easily in true vision like the WZ-111 skin. Anyway, let's get into the old staticus of the Kondor. So on the Kondor, we have 600 horsepower engine with a 45 km/h top speed, 19 km/h reverse speed, 18.26 horsepower per ton ratio. So with this horsepower per ton ratio, you hit 45 kilometers an hour exceptionally easy. It's a pretty nippy tank. The thing is, it doesn't have that good of a top speed. So when I say it's nippy, I mean it really does feel really maneuverable, but then you're limited by that top speed being fairly slow. So that means you're going to run the traction system for guaranteed to be able to get yourself up to that top end of speed, like 49 kilometers an hour with traction system, and help you get on your way and flank easier in this thing. It's got 2,000 hit points, which is a nice slab of hit points for a medium tank in Era 1. You've got 46 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is pretty damn quick. Say it helps to feel pretty nippy in the fact that it turns really, really fast. You've got 1.3 soft terrain resistance, 0.55 medium terrain resistance, and a 0.5 firm terrain resistance. In terms of your detectability, your camo is 372, or your steel concealment. That's not that good, so you might want to make that just a little bit better. I know it's Cold War and True Vision and they can see you anyway, but it's still good to knock your camo rating down, because especially it helps you against people that don't look, essentially. And you know, if you're spotted, people have a target to shoot at, whereas if you're not spotted, they will have to scan to see you, and that means you can conserve more hit points, and there's a chance that you might see them first, right, and you get the drop on them, that sort of thing. But that's not good. You might want to drop that down with a camo perk and stuff like that. Not sure about a camo net because of the equipment you might want to run. Down to you, really. But yeah, you got that. You got 490 meters of view range, which is actually pretty good. Looking at all the other medium tanks, that's actually a pretty damn solid stat for a base view range, which will help you detect a fair few of the tanks in Era 1. If you were to really kit out and go for like optics and situational awareness and that, you will really be devaluing the camo with some of those really mad camouflage tanks like the 4005 and stuff like that. But are you going to spec out for it? No, realistically, you're going to stick with the view range you've got because you can physically see stuff, and it's really realistically good enough anyway for the maps we've got. That kind of view range, you'll spot most things within your view range anyway. You've got 36 degrees a second on the turret rotation, which doesn't keep up with your hull. And you've got to bear this in mind, especially if you run the traction system, because that's only going to get faster. This turret does not keep up with the hull. So if you are turning left or right and you're trying to keep your turret... So say you're turning left and you're trying to keep your turret on target on something that's on the right of your tank, as soon as you turn left, the turret is going to move with the tank. It's not going to keep up with the tank that you're trying to keep your eyes on. So just bear in mind that your turret rotation is slower than your tracks. You've got a 0.84 accuracy during rotation, which is pretty damn nice. You've got 22 degrees of elevation, which is really good, and 7 degrees of gun depression. Now, obviously, 7 degrees is on the... It's always a case of having 10 degrees of gun depression is absolutely fantastic for the tank. Any higher than that is absolutely amazing. When you go down to 8 degrees, it's like, that's a good level of gun depression. When you start to go below 8, it starts to become, yeah, that's not that good. 7 degrees is on the precipice, right, of being a bit more difficult to use a ridgeline with such a tall tank, but it's still usable and you can do it. So 7 degrees ain't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. You've got a 6-second reload, 10 round a minute rate of fire, with 0.29 accuracy, 2.35 meters accuracy during movement, which is something for this area you want to knock down with vert stabs and run and gun, and you'll get that down to a decent level. Aim time is 2 seconds, again, absolutely fantastic. Realistically, this gun handling statistically is really good. It feels a little bit weird at times when you're using it, because it feels like it's worse than it actually is. There's some tanks in this game that have really good accuracy stats, and they don't feel like they're that accurate. And then there's some tanks that have not that good, have accuracy stats that aren't good, but then feel phenomenal. And this is one of those tanks, I mean, I suppose that's RNG, right? But this is one of those tanks where it's really accurate, but sometimes it just feels like it goes, nah, you know what, I don't fancy hitting that. Nope, not going to do that. But yeah, your base DPM is 2.8k, which is absolutely fantastic in this era. You got 223 pen on the AP, 301 on the premium AP, because I think it's HVAP, does it say? Yeah, HVAP, which is basically high velocity AP. So it's basically a premium AP round. And yeah, the 301 pen is phenomenal. It's going to pen everything you're going to see in Era 1. You will not have to worry about your penetration whatsoever with 301 pen. And with 223, you will pen pretty much most things, especially when you aim properly. But there'll be some tanks like M103s, you know, some of the heavy tanks in the era pretty much, that you might bounce off, even if you shoot the lower plate as well, because it's awkward to shoot at. Frontally, you might bounce off those tanks, and you'll want to switch to the 301. But even then, this tank still makes absolute bank in terms of credits. It's got 1,021 meters of the max speed, the shell velocity. 1,021 is pretty damn nice. It will do for your mid to close range engagements. When you're firing at further distances, you do notice that the shell velocity is a little bit slow for those, like, you know, 600-700 meter shots, like you're looking at Erlenberg, stuff like that, or Westfield, things, you know, things like that, where you're shooting at the opposite side of the map from some of the good sniping positions you can take. And you will notice it doesn't feel that good, and it starts to loop the shells a little bit. Where some of the others fight APCL standard and have like 1,400 meters a second shell velocity are a lot nicer. But it's still pretty decent. And as you can see, it's got 165% silver bonus, which is really good, actually, I think, for Era 1, because I think most of them are at 155, 160, something like that. But yeah, on the whole, it's pretty nice in terms of its base stats. And as you can see, in terms of armor, by the way, just a quick glance at it, yeah, it's got no armor. You do have a rounded turret, which does count for something, with 105 on the front and 100 on that side panel. It's absolutely nothing in terms of armor, but because it's angled, you might ricochet shots here and there when you're on ridge lines. So it's not like you're pure paper, but to be quite frank, your armor is it's paper. It's basically paper. You do have 45mm of side armor and 30mm on this top plate, which is something to bear in mind, because that means that with a 30mm top side armor here, that's going to hinder you in trying to side scrape, because tanks with a 91mm caliber gun or higher, which there's quite a lot of in Era 1, they're going to auto pen that side and overmatch you as long as they're not firing heat or HE. So it's something to be very, very careful of. You do have a 45mm bottom end of the side armor, but that top area of armor does stop you from side scraping effectively for the most part, unless they, like I say, the shot goes low, pretty much. So in terms of a crew on this tank, I have hidden it in the T55A, and that is I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Camouflage Expertise, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. Now, this crew is very interchangeable. There's so much stuff you could do for this tank. This was the first crew I had and I put in it, so this is the one that you're probably going to see in the replays. But to be honest, you could take out track mechanic if you wanted to and run rapid aim, because like I said, the turret traverse is way slower than your tracks, and you might want to make that just keep up essentially with your tracks or get somewhere close to it. So you might want to run rapid aim for that. I was thinking I probably would instead of track mechanic, to be honest. You might run instead of snapshot, because the accuracy technically in terms of its turret traverse and in terms of well, in general terms, the accuracy is very, very good. You might decide you don't even need snapshot, and you might want to take that off and put something like silent driving on to help your camo on the move, or run muffled shot to try and reduce the effect of firing on your camo. Safe stowage to protect your ammo rack, but I haven't really noticed the ammo rack get damaged yet. Firefighting in case you decide you don't want to get set on fire too much, or you want to put the fire out quicker. Clutch braking, make your track traverse even faster. Who knows? Down to you, really. It's down to complete personal preference. Or, I mean, even a skill like, which one is it? Not too sure because I never use it. Marked target. Marked target might be another one that you use instead, right? Which keeps the duration of a targeted enemy's... Basically, an enemy keeps an enemy spotted that you spotted for 3 seconds longer, which is a big deal in Cold War because they get unspotted very, very, very quickly. So you might want to run that to keep them spotted for a bit longer. It's definitely a light tank, Cold War light tank skill, that is, but you could run it. Yeah, it's very, very interchangeable. Very, very interchangeable. So let's have a look at the equipment. So food, yeah, I do run food. I mean, I could run camo smoke if I wanted to, because it could be useful, and it does knock the camo down to 334, but I do run food because the food boost is especially great, and it makes the one thing that this tank has that is absolutely fantastic even better, and that is its DPM. Its DPM is absolutely fantastic on this tank, and you will want to make that as good as it humanly can be because it rips things to absolute shreds. So, yeah, you want to make that better with the food. For me personally, anyway. I run rammer as well. Vert stabs to help it with the accuracy during movement and rotation. And then the traction system, like I say, because you want to get up to that 49 kilometers an hour top speed. If you're happy with the gun handling, because the gun handling technically is very good, but in Era 1, I just like to maximize my gun handling and my DPM to make sure that I can just keep pumping out the damage wherever I can as effectively as humanly possible. You could drop the vert stabs, because like I say, the gun handling on statistically, get the English out, statistically on paper, the gun handling is fantastic. So you might not even have to run vert stabs. You could run the powertrain to go even faster if you wanted to. Because with the powertrain, I believe you'd be at, what, 51 kilometers an hour, 52 kilometers an hour, something like that. And it'd help you get there even faster. Or you could run vents to make the DPM even better. Or you could run the camo net to get down to 311 meters of steel concealment, which is pretty damn good. But yeah, I mean, it's completely down to you. That's just what I run on this tank with that, because I want to get to 49 kilometers an hour top speed and, make the gun and DPM just even that little bit better. Let's have a quick look at what the tank is statistically with all that stuff in. The top reverse speed, 20.9, absolutely fantastic reverse speed. 49.5 is still fairly slow, but it's getting up to that Centurion and M48 A5 pattern top speed. It's getting up to that 50 kilometers an hour, which is what a lot of the medium tanks have in the era. There's a fair few, they either go at 50 kilometers an hour or like 56. This one goes at near 50, which is, yeah, like I say, like a lot of them. You've got that 50.6 hull rotation speed, by the way. That is really quick. That's what I mean. It helps it feel extremely nippy, because you do turn on a sixpence very, very easily. And that's another reason why you might want to run rapid aim, because 39.1 degrees on the turret rotation now. Instead, it's still 11 degrees a second slower than your hull. So it's something you might want to reduce. You're up to 570 meters of view range. Your terrain resistances have gone down a little bit. Your camo's at 358 now instead of 374, was it? So it's knocked down a fair bit with the camo perk, which is nice. You have now got, like I said, that 39 degrees a second on the turret rotation. 0.44 accuracy during rotation, with a 1.47 accuracy during movement. This is what I mean. The accuracy on this tank is absolutely fantastic statistically. So sometimes it just misses shots. You sit there going, what? But I suppose that's RNG. You got a 0.23 accuracy, like I say, at 100 meters. Absolutely phenomenal in terms of its accuracy. Absolutely fantastic. 1.84 second aim time is also fantastic. 4.38 reload, which gives you a 3.8k DPM, which you can boost down to, what is it, 4.1, 4.2 with a food boost as well. The DPM on this tank is absolutely fantastic, and it's incredibly, it just rips tanks to shreds very, very, very fast. If you come against this tank and it's kitted out for that DPM build, do not underestimate it, because it will rip you to shreds very quickly before your own eyes. You might think, aha, I have all the pen, I have the alpha at 390. This thing will reload like 2 or 3 shots of 280 before you get another shot off. That's something to bear in mind. And I mean, is that similar to the... I feel like as a 280 alpha tank, because it does have 280 alpha, not 240, it has 280. I feel like that's very similar to the NM116. So let's put a crew in the NM116 and have a quick goosey gander at the DPM that this tank has. That's got rapid aim and brothers in arms. That's all we care about. Let's put that in there. So the NM116 has 3.3. Wow. Okay. So yeah, the Kondor, that's caught me off guard. That has. The Kondor actually has better, and I always thought that the NM116 had a blistering rate of fire. So the Kondor actually has a better rate of fire than the NM116. That's just how fast that tank fires. So yeah, on the whole, I've really enjoyed this tank, and I think it's a pretty damn solid medium tank. You have to get used to the fact that it is a little bit slower than the rest of them. But I mean, 49 kilometers an hour is only 1 kilometer an hour behind some of the other medium tanks in the era. I think it's a fairly solid medium tank to play. You've just got to get used to the fact that it has that lower alpha and lower pen, but use the absolutely blistering rate of fire it has to good effect, and you will have a good time. And it's a fairly good looking tank as well. Is it worth it for 2k gold? Absolutely. It's a great credit maker. It'll make you fantastic credits. And at the end of the day, you get your 2k gold back just for getting the season pass. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's a solid tank. So as always, everybody, I'm going to send you over to the replays where you can decide, yeah, this guy's talking a load of codswallop. He doesn't know what he's on about. This tank looks terrible. Or, yeah, no, actually, this tank does look good. I do agree with him. I'll go with it. Up to you to make your minds up on how it plays in the replays. I'm going to send you over there right now. Enjoy them. So here we are in the replays with the M-636 Kondor. As you can see, it's called the M-636 in the team listings. And we're on Westfield. So in Westfield in the M-636, I'm thinking, well, you know what? We're going to go up north. We're going to go up to the B2 ridge, which is, you know, a position that is a little bit dangerous on Westfield in Cold War in general, because you can get shot from all sorts of positions, from down like the K line, the 0 line, and it's really easy to counter in this era because of that. But it's a pretty strong place to go if you use it initially to get those few shots into the people that are crossing up the 2 line. And then if you take the back end line of the AB line too, you can go round the back and you can stay safe from the guys that shoot along from like Ks 5, 6, and you can try and win the flank that way. So we're going to try and get up to that mid-ridge, popping a blind fire across that way in case anyone's charging up the K-line, but there's no one really going that way. As you can see, the light tank's just skirted round. The FV-107 gets spotted up as he skirts over the top of the ridge. We couldn't quite get a shot into him there, but our light tank does manage to spot 3 medium tanks, and I'm looking at this going, oh, hang on a minute. I'm very alone right now. This is not looking great for me, because yeah, this could go downhill very, very quickly. We end up bouncing on the light tank, unfortunately, and then we auto-aim a shot into the T95E3, which ends up tracking them only. We're just being very, very careful on top of this ridgeline, like I say, because it can go very, very badly, very, very quickly, and then, yeah, not good times. The FV-107 gets 1 into us. We do get 1 into the T95E6. Then we take 2 shots there, and it's like, oh, God, there is like 6 or 7 tanks here. I can't keep cresting on this little ridge because I'm going to start taking too many hits. And yeah, this is not a good position, especially with them coming round on that side there. They'll get hulled down really easily. They'll start being able to stick there and keep getting shots at me, and it's not going to go well. So I start pinging the medium tank, I think it's an M47 pattern, to follow me, to run away, essentially, because they outnumber us massively. I don't have the armour. I may have DPM, but I don't have the armour to contest it that reliably. So I want to move back to a better position, a better defensive position, where I know I can control the engagement myself in that position. So we get ourselves back to this little ridge here where usually quite a few people camp, and we're going to start trying to put some shots out at this T95E3. We'll switch to the premium rounds because the premium rounds will help us go through the T95E3's cupola because it's a bit troll to pen. And yeah, now we're in a position. This T95E3 has clearly decided I am the one that shall go down, and well, he's just ignoring everybody else who are getting to farm him. We try and track him, but unfortunately, well, yeah, we ended up penning him instead of just tracking him. He ends up bouncing on us, and we finish him off. Now we are starting to pummel the shots into this M46A1. Unfortunately, I think it's the M47's been shut down over there. Is he still alive? No, he's over there. There's actually 2 medium tanks over there now. But we are in a position where we can fully help them out without getting focused down. And we can start pummeling the enemy team. I'm saying pummeling a lot. We can pummel the enemy team here with our incredible DPM. And we can start just slapping these rounds down range. I mean, we're only up to 1,400 damage so far with 663, that's 732, 735 assistance. And we are, yeah, just being very, very careful. The 2 light tanks on our team, admittedly, in this game, basically carry our flank on this side because they are absolutely, as you can see, they're just running rings around everything in that northern area. And we're just being very, very careful not to overexpose and go too much. We end up spotting this T54, and fortunately enough we get a nice shot in there that tracks and pens the T54. I mean, that's one thing about having 280 alpha that's nice, is that you do tend to track things first time, which is always great. And we get a bit of a tracking assist on that as well, and puts us up to 1,400 assistance. He just gets away though. We're looking for the shots at this M103 in the distance. Again, this is where the K line is also not a very nice line to go to in any era in Cold War, because yeah, if anyone is just doing one little bit of spotting on that K line, you are absolutely boned, because if we take this northern sphere, you are incredibly easy, and there's not pretty much nowhere unless you just sit at K0 to get yourself protected from anyone shooting in, and it makes it an easy farm for the enemy team who try and get shots at you. Now, as you can see, we're starting to struggle a bit with the shell velocity at range. Some really poorly led shots, some snapshots too. But you can see where the shell velocity at range makes it a little bit more difficult to hit those shots at range, and it sort of starts to loop in a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier if you start to get closer and closer like we're doing, break the distance, and then, yeah, it makes it easy to hit the shots. If we were firing one of the guns that fires APCR and has, like, M51 gun or the M48 Patton gun, you know, has 1,400 meters a second shell velocity, we'd be hitting a lot more of those shots a way bit easier. But as you see, it just tends to, you have to really give yourself a good amount of lead at the distance, and obviously with Cold War and with True Vision, the render distance, it's sometimes a bit deceptive at how far away you're actually firing, and you really do have to make sure you are giving yourself that lead time. So unfortunately, we end up hitting the M41A1 there, which ricochets, but we get a nice shot into him while he's crashed into the enemy tank, and we finish that game with a decent total for the Kondor, in probably one of the more average games I've had. I've had quite a lot of decent games with this. And we finished with 3rd place on the team, 3k damage, 1,400 assistance, the Confederate medal, because yeah, Cold War has medals now, fantastic, finally, 1,283 base XP, like I said, pretty average game for the M636. And we're on to the second replay, and the second replay, we are on this map, which is the thing, it's a map, it's a ting, it's vineyards, there we go, we got there in the end, the old brain got there, and that's all that counts. So we're going to go to the position at A5. We're going to go to A5 because, well, I want to go there. There's no other way about it. I want to go to A5 because it's just a fairly solid position to take. Because once we win the A line, I can push across to like D7 or use the ridge at D8 and shoot the people that camp at J8. And I can also push the fight and get spotting myself and try and spot them up for my team who may be along towards their cap in the CDE 890 area. And they can shoot them too. And that means we win this flank. And it makes it a bit easier because you win this flank quick. You won't get shot too much from the enemy opposition flank that, well, where people are spotted at the minute. So the M41A1 and this T54 go in on this Centurion, so it's like, okay, if we've gone in on the Centurion 5-1, we're just going. So we get 2 shots on the move, auto-aimed into the Centurion. We try and get a shot into the T95E3, but don't quite go in. And we're just going to keep ourselves moving. We just aim for the cupola, trying to lead it, and unfortunately, it just misses the target. But we're going to try and move up closer to this little ridge so we can maneuver ourselves up into a position where we can hopefully get a shot into this T95E3. Oh, and unfortunately, that looked like it should have gone straight into the side of the turret, but it missed. And then he gets a shot into us, but we do track him in place, and he gets shot down. Sometimes, the shot on that side of that turret epitomises this gun. It's filthily accurate, but for some reason, sometimes it's just not. And you sit there going, RNG, why? If you want to see more gameplay of this tank, by the way, go watch my stream where it's the new season, new toys stream that was on the day, which would be yesterday, on the day that this video will come out, because I played about 5 or 6 games in this tank live, so you get to see how it handles live. Some of the replays are from that stream, and some aren't. But yeah, you'll get to see how this tank handles live, and you'll get to see the little bits and bobs about it. But more on this game, we have managed to get to this position here at E9. We've got a nice shot into the NM116, and he ends up getting shot down. We're up to 1,600 damage with 351 assistance. We are spotted, and I think, you know what? Screw it. I am going. I'm going to go and push extremely aggressively. I've got a lot of hit points still, because I've got a lot of hit points to play with. I've got the DPM. We're going to move in and start trying to abuse the E6, the M-636 and the T95E3. Unfortunately, we missed that shot there, but the T95E3 gives us his upper plate, so we get a shot into that. Waiting for the DPM. Fortunately enough, the Tyran 5 SH shuts him down. Then the T-34 comes down, and our hit points are starting to bleed very, very quickly. But the T-34's fired, and we can fire 3 shots for what he will fire into us. Well, we didn't need to because he's gone. So we attack this M-636 I think, you know what, let's see if we can start getting shots into him, bounce shots off our turret using this dead wreck. Unfortunately, because he's shooting down, he is not bouncing on us, and it's like, oh god, I've made a mistake. This is a big, big mistake, so we pull back, but fortunately enough, the M-636 doesn't actually chase after us. We end up getting detected as we're pulling back, yep, because there's a WZ up there. We get a nice shot into the M-636 pull away as quick as possible, damages his ammo rack, so I know that he is not going to be reloaded before me because of my reload. And unfortunately, he just pulls back just as he was pulling forward, and we end up bouncing on him. Really unfortunate, but the M41A1 does shut him down. And now there's only 5 tanks left on the enemy team. There's a WZ-111 that's in front of us. And, well, we can just see this guy, because he's in this bright red camo. We are going to start pumping shots into his lower plate. And again, this is where the tank's nice. As soon as we get spotted and detected, though, we're like, no, I'm out of here. And we're getting detected. I'm thinking, how am I getting detected? I am below the ridge here, right? Or maybe they can just about see the top of my turret or something. But the detector keeps going off, and I'm just being careful. So I pop a blind shot towards where that rock is, because that's where the 4005 was. But we don't hit anything. Just looking for it. Can't see it on the scan. But we do keep spotting this WZ-111 up. So we're just going to pop a shot into his lower plate. We end up getting lit up again. It's like, no, no, no. I'm not dying at this point. We see a T-44A is in our cap. But he's one shot. He's probably going to get shut down. So we're not too worried about that. We're going to pop up again to see if we can spot that WZ-111. Unfortunately, the shot ricochets off his upper plate just because of the awkward angle it was going at. And with him pulling back, I decided, you know what, I'm going to move up. That shot, RBRT, snaps straight into that light tank, which is always beautiful when it does it. We're now going to move up, see if we can get another shot into this WZ-111. Unfortunately, we hit our Tyran 5 SH, but we're going to look for a shot into the cupola of the WZ-111. He does spot us, and in fact, it wasn't him spotting us. It was the other one. And unfortunately, the other one ends up shutting us down. But we do finish with the victory. We come second on the team, 2 kills, 4.4k damage, 2001 assistance, Confederate, the first class, 1426 base XP with the 2 kills. A really pretty damn nice game in the M636. Unfortunately, we got shut down there by the other WZ-111, but it is what it is. Now, this third game is the best game I have had in this M636 Kondor. It's been a pretty fun ride, to be honest, playing this tank. The DPM on this tank is so much fun. I can't understate how much fun this DPM is. How fast this gun fires. It's really nice. And like I said, the gun handling is actually really good, except for the fact that the odd RNG troll. And we're going to make a mistake. Now, at this point, I'm kind of watching the football as well at the same time. And I have not paid attention to my minimap or the game really, whatsoever, can we all see the glaring issue that is happening right now? Happens a lot in Corellia, in Cold War, but there's a big glaring issue. Have we seen it? We've seen it. Our whole team is still in the base, and I've pushed aggressively into this spot down here to try and get some shots into the guys that, you know, go along the 9 line. And I realise, oh, good gravy. This is not good. I need to go. I'm out. Goodbye, lads. That's 2 M103s and the Object 165? Nope. I'm gone. I'm not dealing with this. That would be my death very, very quickly. I pinged the Chieftain T95 just so that, in the hopes that he realises and gets out of dodge, because that is a no-brainer situation where we're just going to die very, very quickly. And we're not about that life. So you know what? We're going to go switch flanks. We're going to use the mobility of the tank, which isn't the best, but we're still going to use it, and we're going to switch flanks and go the other way, because screw the M103s. I'll have to fire premium to guarantee pen them, and that's just awkward. We do get lit, though, when we get a nice shot on the move into that NM116, but, with Cold War the way it is, we get on spot very, very quickly. And we're just going to keep trying to RBRT shots into these guys as we move along, because, well, that's the way that we might get a free shot of damage, while we're also relocating to the opposite flank. And as you can see, unfortunately, we are missing some of these shots on the move. We're just going to take this time now that we're at H1 to look for some free tanks to shoot, pretty much, because there's still stuff in their base shooting across. So it's like, well, you know what, let's look for the tanks. We see the muzzle flash there, and there we go. Well, he gets spotted anyway, but the Type 63I gets spotted. We know there's something else up there, which is actually a Tyran. We are just going to keep popping shots. This is at 965 meters, by the way. Good lord, that is a long, long distance. And yeah, we only got 1 pen into that light tank. So we're going to move forward again, and we're going to try and push the tempo on this flank. We have 3 tanks pushing down the K-line, the ones we ran away from. Sorry, Chieftain T95. We are just going to go push the tempo on this flank and try and win it. We have enough people that are sitting in our spawn that they should be able to realistically deal with those 3 tanks if they actually go and deal with it. And what we need to do is basically distract the enemy team that is camping in their base. Because we distract the enemy team camping in our base, our campers in our base can then go and attack the other heavy tanks freely. Plus, if we get a good position over here, we can actually shoot the people that attack our spawn, really. It's not a base. That attack our spawn and get free shots into them too. So I want to get over here. This guy blew up, right, on this rock. I want to get to the other side of the rock. And this is where camo is going to help us. You're going to see it here, having some sort of camo in this tank, because we're going to fire a few shots at these guys, and these guys are distracted, right? Now, if I had bad camo, I would be getting spotted just for firing at these blokes. But because I didn't get spotted, they don't know I'm here instantly, and they have to find me, which means that I get like 4 shots off before they've realised. What, made that 5 with the first shot in anger from them back at me. Just because I didn't get spotted. They had to find me, therefore I got a load of free shots. That's where the value of camo in Cold War is the fact that you can get 1, 2, maybe 3 shots off at someone before they get the chance to shoot back at you, because they have to physically go find your shell to find you to shoot you, right? And that's where it's always nice if you have a tank that's good and can be spec'd for camo like that, you want to do it. So as you can see, we're trying to help out the opposite flank as much as possible. We saw that T-54 was coming down the A-line, so he's in the back of my brain. Every time I'm firing, I'm double-checking the minimap in case he gets spotted by the 2 tanks that are at D2. But we are just helping the opposite flank as much as we possibly can, because naturally they're going to be getting shot too. The medium tank gets spotted, and I know at this point, okay, it's going to be getting close. So we managed to shut down the Object 165. That guy is now coming for us. We get detected, and it's like, okay, this guy is now too close. He shoots us, damages our armor rack. Our 7 degrees gun depression on this little lip, on this ledge, is not helping us. And this guy, clearly, because I'm a brand new tank, doesn't know that my DPM is bonkers. And I can fire 2. And this is the T-54 ain't no slouch in its rate of fire. I can fire 2 for everyone he's firing, pretty much. And we can trash this poor guy very, very quickly, which was what we're doing. We managed to whittle him down to a possible 1-shot. make that definite one-shot now. And unfortunately, we take 2 hits for that, though. We do get to shut down that Centurion 2, finish him off, which is great. That's 1 gun out the game. And you know what? That T-54 being such low health, that was a looped shell into that M103. We do manage to get the shot snapped into that M103 to shut him down. Because that guy's such low health, I just didn't expect him to come chasing after me. I thought maybe I can ignore him, and if I do, someone else will shoot him. And, well, we ignored him. Someone else shot him. He died. We're up to 4.7k damage with 3 kills and 762 assistance. Something else gets spotted in the distance over here, the Tyrann, and it's like, right, okay, you know what? I'm going to move to the next rock. And from the next rock, we end up seeing the WZ-111, and as you can see in the background too, and it's just fired, there is also a T-34 that is completely unspotted. Now, you would think that I possibly would actually spot that T-34, and actually, to be honest, even after he's firing, I'm quite surprised we're not seeing that guy, because he's, what, 500 meters away from us? And with really good camo, without, sort of say, really good view range, we probably should be spotting him, but I don't know how truly how the vision system works in Cold War, whether it's still capped at 445 meters to actually spot things or not. Who knows? But we're just going to keep working these shots over. Unfortunately, we take a tag there from that WZ-111, which is really annoying, so I now have to be careful. So we fortunately, well, the WZ-111 ends up hitting our drive wheel. We were fortunate to bounce the Tyrann, but because we're making it, we're playing it as tight as possible. We're making it as hard as possible for them to hit me. We're just wiggling, trying to bait the shots. We are still alive, and we managed to ricochet the shots. Like I say, this tank doesn't really have any armor, but because it's angled and the way it's sloped, that means that you can ricochet shots if they hit the wrong angle. It's not like it's a CDC pure paper type tank, right? And we managed to accentuate those angles, and we've managed to bounce a fair few shots. We're now popping blind shots at this FV4005, and we're barely, and I mean barely, seeing him through these trees. But we're just managing to feather the odd shot into him. We missed these last couple of shots, and I decided, you know what, I can just about still see that WZ is on that corner. So we're going to just poke round, pop the shot to try and finish him off. Unfortunately, it doesn't go in, but we are just going to bait the shot, and there we go. We baited the shot missed, we tracked him in place, and actually the T-34 behind us manages to shut him down. Now there's only the 4005 left, and I'm thinking, you know what, he's in those trees at that rock. I'm just going to break the distance yet again and try and get a shot into him. And just as we start maneuvering up, there he is. He ends up getting spotted, and I'm like, okay, no, you know what? I'm not moving up. We're just going to wait in ambush, get the shot in. We get one shot in. The T-34 misses. He's having gun elevation problems. We get a shot into the top of his turret, and someone from the far distance shuts him down. And we finish the game with an absolutely fantastic total. The victory, 4 kills, 8,000 damage, 2.3k assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, Confederate medal, 1918 base XP. Really great game for the brand new M-636 Kondor. It's a really solid Era 1 premium tank, makes good money, gun handling's fantastic, DPM's incredible. I think it's a pretty damn solid medium tank for Era 1, and it will make you a decent amount of credits. Just be a bit more conservative with your armor, well, with your aggressiveness, because it's not got any much armor. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!